Welcome to another episode of Big Brain MMA podcast. I'm your host, Big Steve. First episode of the Dana White Contender Series. It's come full circle. This podcast started around this time last year when I was in Europe as well. And here we are again. A bit more subscribers, a lot more money. Excited. I always do well on these cards. No UFC last week podcast. If you saw on my Twitter, the screen was very orange. I still haven't fixed that, but I mean, the laptop is working. I figured out how to charge it. My charger's broken as well, so here we are with a very orange screen doing a quick breakdown. And soon enough, I'll be back in Australia, and I plan on having a guest every episode of Contender Series, as well as the UFC podcast. I'm looking forward to making the brand a bit more solid for the Big Brain, considering that's what I do on the side, branding and graphic design. So usually I'll leave the overviews for the UFC podcast, but since I skipped the UFC last week, I'll do the overview for the pay-per-view, and then next week's UFC I'll do the overview for the last UFC. So two UFCs ago was UFC pay-per-view. So the first bet I bet was Medic, Uroš Medic, last minute play. I've been mulling it over left and right. I thought he was the better fighter. I thought he had potential. If you just take out the narrative that the Twitter echo chamber was hammering on about, with the hand injury, which was fine, upper weight class at welterweight, and how he is, with this made up narrative about him being a gasser and not durable, then he was the value side, and he showed that he was durable, and he showed that he had good cardio as well, and beat the piss out of Silversberger late. So very happy with that. And then had the under in the Matthews fight to win 600. That could have been a bigger bet. It's just a little bit juiced. So had lost 500, a third of a unit on Ribeiro. That felt like a bad bet. I was kind of considering cashing it out and just playing maybe Ribeiro KO, since that was his path. It is what it is. Lost, and then I won the under 1.5 in the Bonfim Giles. Super easy. It was almost to pick him $1.80. The under 1.5 record for Big Steve continues on. Very easy cash. So I finished on 1,300, 400 around there. So I can't complain. And I had Lima. Lima was one of my best bets. Massive underdog on Octagon. He won a unanimous decision. That hit. And Martin Yoni, who surprisingly I was more confident on over Hack, lost on Cage Warriors. So won almost a unit on Lima, lost 1,000 on Martin Yoni. It was like 300. So I won 1,600 with the UFC majority of the UFC profit, and like 300 on regionals. So happy with that. It is what it is. End of the month on 7,000 profit. Very close to beating my last year's record. So sign up soon enough. I'm gonna increase my Discord, double the price. I think it's worth more, and then all the OGs that are in it will have the same price still. But let's move on. Let's get this card started. David L, one of the boys. Let's go, bro. Thanks for listening. Contender Series starting soon. Love this shit for betting. So do I. Especially live spots. It's huge advantage to the fighters going into live betting. Yeah, last time I live bet Contender, I lost my Bet365 account. So I don't know. I feel like they limit quickly. All right. Let's not waste any more time. This should be a quick one. Kevin Boyas, Victor Diaz. Boyas is a young, slick Peruvian striker. There's not much tape on him, in and out. Maybe like a karate style stance. A good footwork. Young, 25. Seems good. Got a lot of knockouts. The only thing is like a tape, last fight he lost was in 2019 against Renzo Mendes. Very solid fighter. We'll speak about him later. Someone else on the card fought him as well. He dropped him there, and then he got dropped himself in rounds 2 and got rear naked choked. But that's a high quality fighter. And then beat a bunch of dudes in 2002, which I can't find the fight. So there's a lot of question marks. And Victor Diaz seems good. He's a jiu-jitsu guy, high level of competition, good record. I'm not surprised he's a massive favorite. It's just I wouldn't really parlay, especially on Contender Series. This other kid could be good. If anything, I'll maybe play his submission prop if it's better than like minus 200 or something. But we'll see. We'll see. That seems to be a popular play this week. It's pretty common sense, I guess. But yeah, let's move on. Peyton Talbot, Reyes Cortez. Alrighty, this is a great fight, and I taped it extensively. You know, I know Cortez from last time fighting in Contender Series. I watched his Cage Warriors fights a bunch of times, and I taped it again. And Peyton for the first time taping. You know, this kid seems a bit special. He's youngish. I think he's like what 23, 24. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, very good striker, confident. He's got a lot of power. He can be taken down. He's got good get-ups. But he seems special, you know. He hasn't fought the best level of competition, but I like how he's going in rounds 2, rounds 3, and getting late KOs. He's being tested. He's not just one of these hyped up guys that, you know, has 30-second KOs over bums, and then he comes to Contender Series, and then as soon as he has some adversity, falls apart. You know, he's been tested properly. He's gone late. He's had title fights. So I really like what I see. He's got good pull counters. He's got fluid strikes and power. You know, Cortez, he's also quite technical. You know, he switches stances. He's in and out. He feints. You know, he's got good leg kicks, pull counters as well. And he's a bit more of a decision machine. He's got wrestling, but he's not the best. He can't always get the takedowns going until late. And you know, a lot of his KOs are late as well. He's a nutritional fighter, and he kind of starts slow. You know, very technical indeed. I think Talbot is more aggressive. I thought I would like Cortez, but you know, he's 31. He's a finished product. He seems like a similar fighter from what I saw in Contender Series the first time around. You know, he fought a really good UFC level fighter, Christian Rodriguez. Couldn't really consolidate any takedowns, and he just got lit up for 3 rounds. I think Talbot is a little bit more green than Rodriguez, but and he can be taken down. But I just think he's the more talented guy, and I think Cortez margins are slim. Unless he can maybe keep it competitive, drop him, mix in some takedowns. But I just think Talbot has the finishing upside, and I think he's got a lot more potential. And even though he's a little bit green, I still think he's the side. I wish I got the earlier line. I see some people talking about playing Cortez. Maybe he comes in a bit. He already came in like 2 cents this morning. But we'll see. It's Talbot or pass for me. You know, if anything, I'll play Cortez by decision. But yeah, he's a finished product. He's 31. Alrighty. Kyle Machado, Kevin Safarski. Safarski was meant to fight on Contender Series last year against Jimmy Lawson, and then Jimmy Lawson got pumped on short notice. I forgot that wrestler guy. Yeah, he's a weird dude. Both these guys have fought a bunch of nobodies. Kyle Machado seems to have the better striking. He's a lot more dynamic. He's got KO power. Kevin seems to be more of a grappling dude, and when he strikes, I'm not really impressed. Kevin is huge. I think 6'6". But this is a low-level shit show. You know, fat heavyweights with low-level competition on either side. Personally, I'd rather play Machado just because I'm so much more impressed by his dynamic striking, even though it's against nobody. But Kevin, you know, I don't know. I mean, Kevin's got a ground game, which maybe he can use here. But yeah, he's beat Philip Stowawi, which is he's a pressure guy. Pressure boxing dude who's fought in the KSW now. I taped him when I was fighting with Martinek in KSW, which is an impressive win. I think that was Philip's first or second loss. And I haven't watched that again. That's probably his best win. That's probably the best opponent on either guy's record. But yeah, I don't really want to get involved in this fight. It's just a lower level heavyweight shit show. Tom Nolan, Bogdan Grad. This is a really good fight. Really good fights on week 1 of Contender Series. Nolan is an animal. He's an Aussie dude. I saw him for the first time when I was betting Eternal MMA on my local bookie Neds for a little bit before they removed the lines. Was absolutely cucking him. Super aggressive southpaw. He's got freaky intangibles. He's like 6'3" for a lightweight. 6'3", really wiry and strong and aggressive. Goes for takedowns. All aggression. You know, got some crazy power. I think because of the leverage, the length of his limbs. You know, it took Liam Stevens down and just pounded him out. The ground and pound was super brutal. You know, you don't see that kind of ground and pound from guard. It was savage. That's when he was on my radar. And then he fought Adam Cook, was probably his best opponent. He's fought 7-1 at the time. He's got like a Wonder Boy style of striking, and he's a black belt with good jiu-jitsu. And he just ran through him. He had his back taken a bit. That's one of the issues with Tom. He can be taken down. He can't concede positions on the ground just because he's so aggressive and aggressive and a bit sloppy. But as soon as he gets up, he pours it on. And he just finishes dudes. And like I said, all aggression. Bogdan Grad, I'm impressed with this guy as well. He's just good everywhere. Austrian guy, good everywhere. A little bit smaller, 5'9". Not a little bit smaller. 5'10", 5'11", 5 inches smaller. He did fight a giant guy, Christian Murch, in one of his fights, who's also a lightweight. I don't know why he was so much bigger than him. I might have to look into that. But yeah, good everywhere. He's got good jiu-jitsu, good submissions off his guard, good back takes, good control on top, good ground and pound. Nice technical striking. He's a lot more technical than Nolan. In and out, pull counters, seems to have power. He's got a good spinning wheel kick that he sets up. Occasionally, throws it too much. In the last fight, threw it too much. His last win was Renzo Mendes, the guy that beat Kevin Boyas in the first fight that I mentioned. And that, Mendes is a decent fighter. He was 18-6 when he fought Bogdan. That could be his best opponent. And, back and forth fight. Technical, Mendes had some top time against Grad. Grad couldn't submit him. So that's the only weakness I've seen in Grad's game. Maybe being able to be taken down easy and playing too much jiu-jitsu, but he still won 30-27. He was very active off his back. I don't know who I want to play here. I would rather play Bogdan as a dog just because he seems good everywhere. And if Nolan's going to give up his back or some positions on the ground, I feel like Bogdan can punish him. But Nolan just has, I didn't play him in the last Eternal fight as a favorite just because of those issues. And he just has so many intangibles. If he doesn't get submitted, there's a chance he could beat the piss out of Bogdan Grad, even though I've never seen anyone do that to him. But yeah, it's a dog or pass for me just because this is a big step up for Nolan. The Aussie guys that he's fighting, they're not the greatest, even though they have good records. But he could be special, man. 23 years of age. I think it's a very volatile fight. Maybe the under could be good. But yeah, it's a dog or pass at the moment. All right, main event. Cesar Almeida, Lucas Fernando. So this is my only play at the moment. I have Cesar Almeida. He's a 35-year-old kickboxer who's fought Pereira 3 times. He beat him once via decision. He lost the other 2 times with decision. He's fought nobodies in MMA 3 times, and he knocked them out essentially with 1 punch. And that's it. And then his last fight was in 2021 and hasn't fought. Had a bunch of kickboxing fights since, and lost the decision to Donovan Vise. He had cancellations. He was meant to fight Kevin Felipe, but they signed him for the Contender Series. I think he's a very good. I think he was 4th. Last time I checked, he was the 4th best kickboxer in the world. He might still be there, but he just got insane power. And he's fighting Lucas Fernando. I tape Fernando a bit. He's a young LFA prospect. He knocked out Fabio Aguilar in under 3 minutes. Agenze Silva took him 4 rounds to finish him. He's a dude that Gadzi, the bum Russian on Contender Series in Ebard, in the first round, and it took Fernando 4 rounds to get him out of there. And he mixed in his wrestling, but he still couldn't submit him or anything like that. But he's mostly a striker, a really tall, long striker. He's 6'3", compared to Almeida's 6 foot. He's got a lot of reach on him. So I'm just steering into the variance with this one. I mean, Cesar Almeida has a puncher's chance more than anyone. And, Fernando still looks a little bit green to me. He's improving. He's good everywhere. But, I can't see him crack. His one loss, he was getting wrestled, which I don't think is live here. And the fact that it took him 4 rounds to finish Jensei Silva and Rodrigo Lima went to decision, and Cesar Almeida, not being knocked out by Pereira twice shows me that he's durable. So even if he doesn't get an early knockout, maybe there's a potential chance, he has some decision upside as well. Even if he gets wrestled a bit by Fernando, he can, win rounds 2, rounds 3 with some big moments. He's been training at Extreme Couture. He's been doing MMA for a while, 2, 3, 4 years. These world-class kickboxers, they just need to add some tools. And, we've seen Pereira become a champion super quick. We've seen Adesanya, become a champion. Not as quick, but for UFC standards, as soon as he got signed to the UFC, he was a champ relatively quickly. So it's a quarter unit shot, $500. The line's quite out there. Why not? It's a puncher's chance. Anything's possible. So a little poke. I don't know about unders just because Fernando, like I said, went to fourth round, and he's a little bit patient. I think Almeida, all the upside could be on Almeida's side, so we'll see. David L, I'll tell you on Almeida if the line hasn't been smoked when the bookies pick it up. I don't think so. Daniel Mofo, 320 on Unibet. Daniel Almeida trains at Fight Ready. Santino talks very highly of him. Maybe he does. I thought his last gym was Extreme Couture, but hey, the more gyms he goes to, the better. You know, he's one of these guys that takes it seriously. So he's already got one world class skill set. He just needs to add another. All right, let's quickly go over, and that's it. Boyas, Victor Diaz. I mean, I like Diaz, but it's just juiced, maybe submission line. A lot of questions with Boyas. Talbot Cortez, it's Talbot or pass for me. I'll see if I'll play it. Machado, Shafiarski, a horrible heavyweight fight pass. Tim Nolan, amazing fight. I don't know, grad or pass, but yeah, big side disadvantage, we'll see. And third of a unit on Almeida. I think he's live for a finish. Extremely world-class kickboxer. We'll see how he goes. Volatile fight. So yeah, thank you for listening. Glad I could do a podcast for the first episode after missing UFC last week. Not long now. Today's the 7th. A week or so I'll be back in Australia. And yeah, having guests on, having proper appearances, proper schedule, fixing my laptop. But yeah, other than that, good luck on your bets. Like and subscribe if you haven't. And yeah, see you soon.